Chapter 23. You're lying! Ember fumed. How can I be lying? Cinder snapped. Spyro was there too. I refuse to believe the flame would attack Spyro. I refuse! Ember hissed and flames blew from her nose. How can you deny it? Cinder demanded. Just look at him. 3 drunks were gathered in Spyro's room. The poor Drago had been bandaged up, and was resting peacefully on his cushion. At least he was trying to. Those could be anyone's scratch marks, Amber protested. You can't prove they're from flame. Amber, wake up! Simba saw the dragons across the face, leaving 3 bloody marks. Why do you refuse to see the truth? Amber looked shocked. She had never been struck in such a way. Part of her wanted to lift the blow right back, but she was too stunned. We both know that flame, the real flame, would never intentionally hurt someone he cared about. Why can't you see that the flame we know is gone? Because... Amber sniffled as tears formed the rims of her eyes. I know flame better than any of you. Before Cinder could come back with a reply, Amber ran out of Spyro's room crying. Cinder watched her disappear down the hall and shook her head sadly. You can't really blame her, you know, Spyro muttered. His silent voice made Cinder jump. I was the same with you. Cinder sighed. I just don't know, Spyro. I don't know how you were able to do it. Do what? Believe in me. When you were told that I would become evil again, you refused to believe that was your fate because you were never given a chance at something good in your life. But Amber needs to realize that the flame which she knew isn't there anymore. Otherwise, how would she be able to help him? I don't have the answer to that. Spyro put a wing around Cinder as she lay down beside him. What my parents used to tell me was that when in doubt, just follow my heart. Do you believe that will be for the best? Cinder nosed at his Spanish cheek. It hasn't failed me yet. Spyro kissed her eyelid and Cinder cooed heavily. The flame marched back and forth in the main chamber of the cave. Maximus had asked him to wait there so he could get some things. That was nearly 30 minutes ago. Why so tense? Fiona asked as she walked into the chamber from outside. She dragged the carcass of 2 mountain goats behind her. I'm not tense. Flintstone and smoke blew from his nostrils. Fiona wasn't fooled. She thought the boss what they were and started over to him. Come now, Flame. You don't have to lie to me. If you want me to help you, relax. All you have to do is ask. Flame turned to her and she pushed her lips against his. Flame's eyes were wide, but his lids quickly began to droop. Fiona raised a hand and slowly drew her claws down his neck and to his chest. The sensation caused Flame's eyes to roll back as he thoroughly enjoyed the feeling. Fiona slipped her tongue into his mouth and breathed deeply into him. Flame felt a burning feeling in his throat, then a feeling of ecstasy. Fiona drew her lips away from his and smiled at him. Her eyes seemed to be glowing in the darkness of the cave. There. Doesn't that feel better? She turned back to the sheep, letting her tail slide against the dragon's chest. You should probably eat too before you go out again. You're going to need all of your strength. Flame suddenly grabbed one of the sheep and began to devour it. No sooner had he finished than Maximus returned. Your forces are set to go, he announced to Flame. Forces? What are you talking about? Flame demanded. Behind Maximus emerged from the tunnel a group of wyvern and Flame's eyes grew wide. These wyvern are here to help, Maximus said. They will be under your command when you go to face the purple dragon again. Flame just spat on the cave floor and the flames caused the wyvern to jump nervously. I don't need the help of these bumbling idiots. I can handle Spyro just fine on my own. It's not Spyro I'm concerned about, Maximus stated. It's his friends who is probably railing against you as we speak. Besides, Maximus' eyes began to glow. Think of them as a gift. Your own tools to use as you see fit. Flame's eyes were locked on the dregs for a long, hard moment. I will take them as my tools to use as I see fit. Thanks for the gift, he joined back. You are very welcome, Maximus said with a smile. Now go on. You mustn't keep your lady waiting. She's waiting for you to destroy the purple dragon so she can be all yours. Yeah. Flame now with an evil grin and his markings blazed. So that's what we have planned, Spyro finished explaining to Theodore and the other guardians. I'm not sure that I truly like it, Theodore shook his head. You do have to admit it is quite clever of them, Fujia pointed out. At this point, anything is better than sitting here and waiting for whomever's behind us to show themselves. I suppose you're right, Theodore sighed. Very well, then we'll begin to... He was surrounded by the sound of the alarm bells ringing throughout the city. Spyro and the guards all dashed to the outside deck and looked out across the landscape. Off in the distance, approaching fast, they spotted a horde of wyvern and a fire-breathing dragon leading the way. Oh no, Spyro gasped in dismay. It seems we'd be in for quite a fight today, Gyro growls, and his muscles ripple through his body. Spyro! The dragons look down to see Cinder flying up to meet them. It's Flame! He's leading an army of Wyvern! We know, Spyro nodded. It looks like our little deal will have to wait for another time. I understand, Cinder nodded sadly. Come on, we need to keep them from getting past the guards on the city wall. Spyro spread his wings and dove out the platform with the others close behind. Ember woke up to the sound of the alarm bells ringing. She got up off Flame's pillows and looked out over his balcony. She had gotten a clearer view of what was coming as Spyro, Cinder, and the other guards shot past her dive. Hey, wait! She shouted and leaped off the railing after them. Cinder was the only one who heard her and stopped to wait for her to catch up. What's going on? It's Flame. Is he taking the seat with the Wyvern? What? But he can't be. Amber looked out across the horizon as Flame sped forward over the hills. Look, Amber, I don't want to give up fighting for Flame, but if you're not going to help fight, then just stay here. Cinder turned and hurried up the Spyro and the Guardians, leaving Amber to hover by herself. Spyro landed on the outer wall with the other Guardians. He waited as he watched Flame heading straight for them. I want everyone to concentrate on dealing with the Wyvern, Spyro said as he looked up at the Guardians. I'm going to go deal with Flame myself. No, Spyro, you can't, Cinder protested. You haven't fully recovered from your injuries yet. I'll be okay, Cinder. Spyro kissed her on the cheek. I promise. But right now, I think I'm the one Flame wants. So I think it's best I confront him rather than leaving you and the others to get hurt. Spyro. Spyro shook his head, knowing full well what she wanted. This time I have to go alone. I'm counting you to protect the city center. The black dragon hung her head sadly, but then perked right back up. Spyro the dragon, you had better make sure you come back alive. Do you hear me? She puffed her chest and gave him a stern look. Loud and clear, Cinder. Spyro nodded. Good. Cinder bobbed her head slightly and gave him a kiss on the cheek. Good luck. Spyro blushed slightly before he spread his wings and took out to meet the threat head on. Flying spot the purple dragon take off from the top of the firewall and a grin spread across his lips. Do what you will with the rest, he shouted to Wyvern. The purple one is mine alone. You touch him and I'll kill you myself. The Wyvern hissed and beat their wings harder to reach the fall faster. Looks like Spyro was right about Flame, Theodore muttered darkly. Yeah, sure looks that way. Cinder shook her head sadly. Flame roared and extended his claws towards Spyro. The purple dragon barreled through the Wyvern, burning several with his fire breath before slamming head-on into the flame. The two dragons tumbled head over heels in tiny fists of claws and teeth. Spyro kicked Flame in the stomach and knocked him into the ground. Flame got to his feet and spewed a wave of fire up at Spyro, who dodged. Spyro landed on the ground and rolled away as Flame let loose another stream of fire. Flame sprang into the air and curled into a spinning ball of fire. Spyro stood his ground and shuffled his horns. He struck Flame's attack, but the fire breath had gained the upper hand. The impact sent a shock through Spyro's body, and he fell back to the ground. Flame landed and lunged for Spyro. Spyro ducked and lashed out with his tail, catching him upside his head. Flame struck it back and Spyro charged again. This time he got his horns under Flame and launched him high into the air. He sprang up onto the fire dragon and wrapped his tail in his jaws. Flame's eyes grew wide as the air rushed out of his body, with Spyro slamming him into the ground. Spyro didn't release his friend there. He spun Flame around 3 times before releasing him and sending him flailing. As he stoned through the air, Flame spat out a shower of fireballs. Spyro covered himself in earth as it exploded all around him. Flame landed and rushed for Spyro's protective barrier. He leaped high, took a deep breath and unleashed all the firepower he could into one blast. Spyro felt the temperature inside his ball of earth increase dramatically. When he couldn't take it anymore, he fired an earth bullet through, and the barrier exploded. Both dragons went bouncing along the ground. Spyro got up and shook his head. He was covered in dirt, and his bandages were coming undone and bleeding again. Flame got to his feet as well. He had a few scrapes and bruises, but none as serious as Spyro's. The fire breathed a grin, and both dragons charged each other again. Back at the city, Ember watched in horror as Flame and Spyro clashed in their violent battle. Fire, ice, and lightning ripped across the sky as the two tried to outmatch the other. Cinder and the Guardians were just beyond the wall, battling the Wyvern, while the few beasts that stood by were dealt with by the mole warriors. This isn't right, Flame, Ember whispered to herself. This isn't the real you. She saw Spyro get rammed in the side, his dress breaking again. Spyro turned to slash Flame across his face. Ember's thoughts drifted back to when she had gone to ask the Guardians for their advice. We believe that if one has a troubled mind, then they are easily susceptible to the power of darkness, Fucho explained. Judging by what we've noticed of Flame these past few days, he may be one such case. But is there anything we can do to help him? Ember asked. I mean, he's our friend. He's my friend. He's supposed to become a guardian. We are all aware of that, Zebra put in. Or Creo put in. When until Flame decides what he wants, then our options of helping him are limited. But what should I do? Ember begged. I made a promise to have Flame back when he needed me. And right now he needs me. And I don't break promises. We understand your concern, Ember. Deirdre raised a paw to set her down. You are a very good friend of Flame for promising such a thing. But we don't have the knowledge of the situation to provide an effective solution. The only thing we can do is hope. Ember sighed and hung her head. She felt so helpless. Deirdre noticed and leaned down to nuzzle her. Don't give up your hope, young dragon. When Spyro and Cinder went missing for 3 years, Ignite made sure we didn't lose hope that they would return. Don't give up on your friend Flame. That's a saying, Creo said as he walked the dragon's search chamber, that even in the darkest times, we lose sight of what we are fighting for. But that the smallest bit of courage can turn the tide of a war. He nuzzled Ember's good night. Don't forget that. I won't, Ember nodded. A single tear rolled down her cheek and fell to the city below. I'm not going to give up on you, Flame. Ever. She fluttered her wings a couple times before taking off for the battlefield. Flame slammed Spyro into a tree, turning the trunk to splinters. You're still holding back. Why? Flame bellowed. Because you're my friend. Spyro shot back and froze Flame's feet in place with his ice breath. As Flame struggled to free himself, Spyro struck him in the chest. The fire dragon roared across the ground before turning back and breathing more fire, setting the trees ablaze. You're not my friend, Flame growled. Why not? Both dragons punched each other at the same time and staggered back. Because... Flame paused. He couldn't remember why he was fighting Spyro to begin with. Because... His voice trailed off and the markings on his body began to fade. Suddenly, Flame was struck with a stabbing pain in his mind. What are you doing? The voice hissed. Kill the purple dragon. I command it. Flame wailed in agony as he clutched his head. Flame! Spyro shouted and bounced over to him. Fight it, Flame. You have to fight it. You have to be strong. The red markings on Flame's body began to flash deep red. Flame's eyes were glowing red as well. Spyro took an uneasy step back as Flame's body began to emanate a crimson aura. Before he could do anything, Flame opened his mouth and blasted Spyro with a beam of red energy. The purple dragon cried out as he was engulfed. Back at the wall, the Guardians and Cinder all turned their heads as the red beam cut through the landscape and collided with a mountain in the distance, obliterating it instantly. By the ancestors! What was that? Cinder gasped in horror. Her thoughts were interrupted when Ember shot past her head. What the hell is she doing? She punted aloud and took off after her. Flame continued to fly about uncontrollably as he fought for control of himself. Several yards away, Spyro groaned and opened his eyes. What was that? He had never experienced an attack like that before. Flame growled and flew up into the sky. He opened his jaws again and he began to glow with the same red aura. Spyro's eyes grew wide as he shielded himself with his wing, waiting for the final blow. All of a sudden, the sky was filled with fireballs. These sparkled and spun in every direction, blinding Flame in the process. The fire breather turned his head away and released the energy. The crimson aura disappeared and Flame rubbed his eyes. He was seeing spots and flashes when Ember slammed into him. The two fell out of the sky and rolled across the ground. Flame tried to claw at her, but Ember was quick to kick him off. Flame hissed at the blurry figure in front of him, and his markings began to flash wildly. Stop it, Flame! You don't have to do this! Ember cried, but her words went unheard. Flame's body began to glow again. Ember shot a fireball at his feet, sending him spinning through the air from the force of the explosion. She charged him again and swung her tail in his gut. Flame gagged as Ember grabbed his horns and slumped his face into the ground. For a long moment, the fire breath didn't move. Ember took a cautious step towards him. Flame, get up, she coaxed in a gentle tone. Come back home. Come home to us. Flame twitched. His head hurt and his body ached. He sat up and shook his head. His face was covered in dirt and blood. His vision finally came back to him. He sat up at the pink dragonets who stood over him. His eyes returned to their normal fire orange and his markings disappeared. Ember, he wheezed and coughed. The dragon nodded. It's me, Flame. It's going to be alright. I'm here for you now. She took another step closer, and Flame felt his heart rate spike. Suddenly, the stabbing pain in his head was back. He wailed as he clutched at his head again, trying to shake the force that possessed him out. Flame! Ember shouted. She grabbed him by the shoulders and pinned him to the ground. Flame, it's me! Ember! Flame! Her partner thrashed beneath her like a wild animal, gnashing his teeth and trying to claw at her. At last he kicked her off of him and Ember hit the ground hard. She got up, clutching her stomach, to see Flame take off with the last of Ivy Wyvern close behind. When all was quiet, Spyro limped over to her. He was badly bloodied and his breathing was very forced. "Thanks for the save, Ember," he wheezed. The big dragon just shook her head. "I almost had him." She clenched her teeth and stunned the fist on the ground, crying. The impact sent a shadow fire into the air. "I almost had him!" Ember sobbed. The poor dragon sighed and put a comforting wing over her as she continued to cry. The clouds had grown darker and drops of rain began to fall from the sky. Ember pounded the ground over and over, cursing herself for not being able to get there to her friend. "I almost had him," she repeated. "Damn it." Back in the isolation of the mountains, Maximus paced furiously in front of Flame. "Disgraceful!" He snapped and struck Flame across the face. "I gave you all that power and then some, and you couldn't even finish the job." He stood on his hind legs and kicked the fire-breathing against the wall. Off in the corner, Fiona sat watching the scene with machine-like disinterest. As Maximus continued to deliver his punch on the young dragon, Flame let his mind drift back to the fight. He couldn't understand why he had freaked out in front of the pink dragoness. Who was that girl? He thought to himself. She seems familiar, but I can't remember where I met her before. Then his world went black as Maximus brought his foot crashing down on him.